RetroDaze.
I was obsessed with fads as a kid. Now, I didn't know they were fads, of course, but even if I did, I'm not sure that would have mattered. When the next popular thing came around, I was right there with all of my peers and classmates, snatching up whatever the shiny new obsession was, and then, faster than you can say fidget spinner, everyone lost interest. After all, by definition, a fad isn't just a craze, but a short-lived one that fizzles out, often quickly. Now, there is some debate as to whether something coming back into style decades later due to nostalgia erases that moniker, but I, for one, tend to think it doesn't. Especially since I had my hand in so many of these fads over the years.
I had my pet rock, slap bracelets, packs of Garbage Pail Kids, and yes, to a certain extent, even the king of fads, POGs. Long before the fad of the 1990s, the game, now known as POGS, was played with milk caps in 1920s Hawaii. The game was brought to Hawaii by Japanese immigrants who had played a version of this game using cards called menko. Even further back, during the 17th century Edo period, the game pieces were called minuchi and were made of baked clay. From the 1920s through the 1950s, milk caps were the main game pieces because they were plentiful and otherwise disposable round pieces of cardboard with an image on only one side. The milk caps, as the name suggests, were used to top glass milk bottles during this time. The images then were often associated with whatever dairy or farm the milk came from, often resulting in a variety of designs in any one person's collection. Due to the nature of the game pieces, when milk caps started to fade out of use in the 1950s, so too did the game of milk caps fall into obscurity. Well, that is, until one fateful day in 1991. According to MakawaMuseum.org, in the early 90s, Blossom Galibso, a teacher and counselor at an elementary school in Oahu, reintroduced the game to her students and used it as a tool to learn math. Galibso and her students hunted for the proper materials for their game and liked the classic milk bottle caps used by Haleakala Dairy on Maui. The tops were round, flat, and made out of cardboard. About that same time, a fruit drink called POG was very popular in Hawaii, and the dairy began distributing POG milk bottle caps to promote its fruit drink. POG is made from passion fruit, orange, and guava juices, hence the abbreviation on the caps. The game spread so rapidly around the islands that the packing company for the milk bottle caps was asked if they could make extras. In an interview in the Orlando Sentinel in 1994, the feature editor of the Honolulu Advertiser reminisced about the early 90s craze in Hawaii. You would have to go home at night and have to dig the POGs out of the bottom of your purse. Every business was giving out a POG. Every politician had a POG. We even had a columnist saddled with the POG beat. The game hit the mainland, first in California, and by 1993, milk caps, by that point regularly referred to as POGs, was no longer an obscure and forgotten game. In fact, soon after, the name was trademarked and marketed by the World POG Federation and the Canada Games Company, further spreading the fad throughout the world until it finally hit peak popularity in 1994 and 1995.
You balance the POG on 2 fingers, and it must be thrown overhand at the top of the stack.
This crowd at Hey Kids Comics knows what POG is all about. You take a stack of chips or POGs and hit them with a slammer. Whoever has the most POGs turned right side up wins.
That's one game.
Jared Dodson says winning is a matter of luck.
Okay, game goes to Jared.
What I've figured out, it's by chance. It doesn't really have many skill you have. It's by whoever gets the most when you hit it.
This game isn't just for kids. Marge Farrell's grandsons convinced her to play.
I started to play last Wednesday. My grandson introduced me to POGs. I had never even heard of them before.
The idea behind the game has actually been around since the Depression, but didn't take off until a Hawaiian school teacher introduced it to her students 4 years ago.
The kids found a local dairy that was making a juice called passion fruit orange guava nectar that still had that kind of caps, and they started a craze, a run on that kind of cap. And the POG initials on the caps gave it the name POG.
Kids don't just play with POGs, they collect them. The POGs come in all sorts of colors, and the slammers, you can find them in all different shapes and sizes. Justin Rudisil used to collect baseball cards. Now he scoops up POGs by the handful.
Justin, around 2 o'clock, you'll be playing your second round.
Well, I have like the originals, and they're like expensive, they're like 50 cents each. And then I have some of the fake ones like around there, and they're like 10 cents each.
POG is so popular, Hey Kids Comics plans to hold a tournament every 6 weeks. In Spring-It's-Berry Township, York County, Tracy Evans, News 8.
To kids in the 90s, it felt like POGs materialized out of nowhere. I don't want to speak for everyone, but I certainly had no idea about the origins of the game, though it was often reported on. In fact, I wouldn't have even heard of them at all if it weren't for Playmates releasing Star Trek space caps alongside action figures. See, I was already out of college, and though I had little interest in the game, I was still a huge fan of Star Trek. But POGs, or in this case, space caps, were still just this weird little blip on my radar and not something I was particularly keen on exploring any more deeply. For kids of the right age, though, they were silver dollar-sized pieces of cardboard with cool images on them that seemingly everyone was bringing to school and playing with during lunch or on the playground. You didn't even have to be a trading card or comic collector to run into POGs. Writer Tony distinctly remembers walking into his local mall to find kiosks selling all kinds of POG paraphernalia. There were plastic tubes to store your POGs in, circular mats to use as the playfield, all manner of POGs and slammers, protective plastic sleeves, and more. Specifically, he remembers there often being big baskets or tubs filled with loose, generic POGs that were often as cheap as 10 cents each. He would dig through these seemingly unlimited assortments and snag anything that caught his eye. This turned out to be one of the best ways to pad the collection since he and his friends liked to play for keeps. Yeah, at that point it was basically gambling, but it was one of the few things that gave the game at least a little longevity for Tony and his friends. You could only throw a slammer against a pile of cardboard circles so many times before losing interest if there wasn't something at stake. So if they successfully flipped the POGs, they got to keep them. Even then, the game soon lost its luster, not only for Tony's friend group, but for the entire world. Before that could happen though, everyone cashed in on the fad.
What are POGs?
These are POGs. They're milk caps. They're POGs. It's a game. You stack them, and then you whack them.
Collect them? Are they special?
Yeah, custom. You get them in a fun meal of Zips.
I got it. Get 5 free POGs with every fun meal. 1 with every 32-ounce Pepsi, only at Zips now.
Go Pog Wild.
Okay, but are they cool?
POGs are very cool.
But are they cool? Yeah, well, your mileage may vary. But that didn't stop fast food companies, comic companies, and a range of international manufacturers like Long King Printing from spitting out various versions, often unbranded and generic in nature. Some of the biggest competitors to the official POGs released by the World POG Federation, WPF, and Canada Games Company were the likes of Skybox International, who made Sky Caps, and Marvel, who made Hero Caps. Skybox, who was already in the trading card game, released their Sky Caps as a direct competitor to POGs. Their collectible milk caps featured licensed franchises including DC Comics, Superman, Batman, Jurassic Park, and the NFL. Writer Tony's personal collection includes a stack of Sky Caps with Image Comics characters. Though interestingly, the Spawn milk caps that came out in 1995 were produced by the WPF and Canada Games Company rather than Skybox, even though Spawn was released by Image Comics. Meanwhile, Marvel put out Hero Caps via Toy Biz in May 1993, featuring various popular characters, including Spider-Man and X-Men. They often sold these in sets called Hero Packs, which would include a number of caps packed with a fat slammer, as they called it. In one of the X-Men collections, they called it an adamantium slammer. Personally, I prefer the Alabama slammer, but I guess that's just me.
It's big. It's mega big. And it's only at one place. McDonald's. Power up. to save the world. Now you can power up at McDonald's. Because right now, when you buy something to eat, you can get a free Power Rangers Power Coin. 13 coins in all. But you might want to hurry, because you're not the only one who wants Power Rangers.
It's said that McDonald's never met a fad they didn't like. And after seeing this commercial, I think I would agree. Their pairing of POGs with the Power Rangers for the promotion was especially smart, considering by the time they got their hands into the pie, the fad was probably already dying.
Black Diamond G-Strings, the fun-to-eat stringable cheese snack. Now comes with a free set of 2 POG milk caps. They're fun and then they're... How so fun when you get these milk caps. You find them in these specially by packs. G-Strings.
Once your product is being advertised alongside string cheese, it's over. Hey, I don't make the rules. That's just the way it goes, man. G-sticks, G-sticks, G-sticks.
Game over, man. It's game over.
It truly was game over for POGs. As quickly as the fad had surfaced, its burnout was even quicker. One day, it was all any kid could talk about. They were collected like rare coins and hoarded like pirate treasure. Then, well, no one cared. Entire collections migrated to yard sales, junk drawers, or in the most severe cases, garbage cans. What we once saw as invaluable treasures suddenly revealed themselves to be what they'd always been: flimsy pieces of circular cardboard.
POGs. Delightful children's toy enjoyed by many. These collectible tradable milk caps made a huge splash in the mid-90s, but where are they now?
That clip from Partial Credit, Florida State University's new fake news and sketch comedy show, was hilariously true. That is, until around 2025 when POGs suddenly returned with a brand new hobby box. Perusing the official website, POGunlimited.com, it is clear that they're leaning heavily into the collectible nature of POGs with a little sprinkling of mystery box intrigue. For instance, the new hobby box is limited to 5,100 pieces, with chase items like a 1 in 12 aluminum Keeney Slammer, a 1 in 6 gold Keeney Slammer, mini posters, and NFTs. The numbered boxes, with 12 8-packs of POGs, 1 Slammer, 12 foil POGs, 4 numbered parallel designs, and 1 numbered collector insert, go for $119.99, which is, I'm gonna say, expensive? Yeah. Here's the thing. That price is contingent upon the notion that these are collectibles that will go up in price, or at the very least, for you dirty scalpers out there, something you can turn around and resell for a profit on eBay. Whether or not that's the reality of POG's great return, I'll leave up to you to decide. However, I will add this one fact. That extremely rare hobby box that they only made 5,100 of, the one they started selling last year, yeah, it's still available to purchase on their website.
Listen, I'm not trying to crap all over the return of POGs or this specific hobby box. One thing's certain, once those 5,100 boxes do sell out, the price will probably spike. So if you're a scalper that doesn't mind taking a gamble and sitting on the boxes until such time that they do go up in price, or you're a true POG enthusiast, I guess you should grab one at retail price while you can. For the rest of us, we can go ahead and occasionally glance at our old 90s sets and reminisce fondly before putting them back into storage for another decade. Which reminds me, I have to know, did you go in for the POG fad of the 90s? If so, do you still have some of your old POGs? Are you planning on buying the new hobby box? Well, you know, I would love to hear about it down in the comments. And if you enjoy our content, please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and maybe even activating that ubiquitous notification bell. It really does make a huge difference. Let's meet again next week to celebrate yesteryear right here on RetroDaze.
Clicky clacky.